Let the church say amen. Amen. It's so good to look out and see all of your faces. Coming here to worship our God, how? In spirit and in truth. If you're visiting with us, you're an honored guest. And we are so glad to have you here with us this morning. Last week, we started a study doing a word play on the year 2020 that we want to see Jesus clearly as he is with 2020 vision. And I made some changes. I wanted to start out by talking to you about those. I was going to do it in the morning and decided to do it in the afternoon for a particular reason. I decided I'm going to take the church through the entire Bible. Every book of the Bible. We're going to be looking at how Jesus Christ relates to every single book. And so we will start that this afternoon with the book of Genesis. But today, however, we will be starting a new study, a new series rather, title. I know you have on the bulletins there, how to put God's will first in our lives. Well, let's change that to what is God's will for us? That's the title. What is God's will for us? Well, if you're not a Christian, I can tell you right away. God's will is that you become a Christian. Now, I give it to you on the front end and the back end. If you want to become a Christian, you hear the word of God. What does the word of God teach? That you must believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. You must turn from your sins, turn from wrongdoing, confess Christ with your mouth to be the Son of God, and be baptized. And we can take care of that for you this morning. We can baptize you into Christ this morning. But you also must remain faithful until death. So that's God's will for you if you're not a Christian. Now, we're going to look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, and look at verses 16 through 18, and what God's will is for the Christian. Let's keep in mind, Paul is writing to Christians here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, beginning there around verse number 16. The Bible said, rejoice in the morning, in the afternoon, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. And here's where we get our theme from. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. So this is God's will. And you know the way I like to do it, I'm going to take it piece by piece. So this part by part rather. And so this morning we will only be talking about rejoicing always. Now I know the question comes up, a lot of people lie, they say, well, how can I rejoice always in this world so full of sickness, illnesses, bills, difficult times, and job loss, and relationship breakups, and all? How can I rejoice all the time? Well, we're going to tell you how to do that before I sit down on this morning. But let's start here. God wants us to rejoice always, not just sometimes. How are you going to accomplish that? Only with God. I can say that up front. That's the only way it's going to happen. And so you look there. Let's start here in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 9. We're going to park there in Ecclesiastes. You can park there for a minute in Ecclesiastes. We're going to look at some passages there. Starting out with Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse number 9. And the title here is Rejoice in Life. He says there in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 9, rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes, But know that for all these, God will bring you into judgment. Now, let me break that down for you. Young people, enjoy your life. Enjoy your bodies now. They're not going to stay the same way. I tell you that. You cutting cartwheels now, running around tracks. That will come to an end one day. Trust me on that. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your physical body and things like that. Enjoy your minds. I say, young people, I watch young people sometimes with their smartphones and that kind of thing. That's going to come to an end. Amen. So enjoy your youth. But he tells you how. Now, it appears. He's saying, when he said walk in the ways of your heart, in the sight of your right. It sounds like he's saying walk in the way that you would walk. No, what's the implication in the last of the verse? Knowing that God will what? Will bring you into judgment. So while you are enjoying your life, young people, do it in a godly way. There are a lot of things you can do. A lot of young people do that. Some things young people should not be doing. Such as sex and things like that. You have to be married in order to. You shouldn't be doing those things if you're not married. There are harmful things you can do to your body now. You can drink and smoke and all those kinds of things and party and all that, but they will catch up to you sooner or later. But here's the deal. If you start now living your lives in godly ways, obeying God, and you keep that going throughout your youth until your early adult, and on and on and on, your life will be all for the better. And so we're starting out here with rejoicing in your youth. But also he says in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 24, he tells us something that is very difficult for some people to do. And that's to rejoice in your work. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 24, nothing is better for a man than he should eat and drink, and that his soul should enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw was from the hand of God. And so we are to what? Enjoy our work. Now, that's very difficult for some people because sometimes we're doing things we don't want to do. I always advise people to try to find something good in your job. Even if you're digging a ditch and you're doing it with, good people, nice people, that's something good, right? Try to find something good in our works. Why? Because God commands that we work. You gotta have to do it. So you might as well find some kind of joy in it. Amen. But the Bible says there also in chapter 3, verse 12 through 13, I know that nothing is better for them than to rejoice and to do good in their lives, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labors. It is the gift of God. If you got a job, it's a gift of God. There's a lot of people that ain't got no job. You may not like your job, but you got a job. And so he's saying we need to rejoice in our jobs. I was going to go back over to Ecclesiastes chapter 11. And we look here this time at verse number 8. He says here, but if a man live many years and rejoices in them all, yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they will be many. All that is coming is vanity. Let me break it down for you. In life, you're going to have some disappointments. I'm going backwards here. A lot of times people miss their life. A lot of things slide by. You have your children. They're running around you now. And they're little. And some people, they don't enjoy their children. They're always fussing and angry and upset. There'll come a day when they're going to grow up and they'll be gone. And then you have regrets. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have enjoyed that. Sometimes that's the case even with spouses. Some people are very miserable in their marriages and things like that. And they don't seek to find anything positive. about their marriage, and then they grow old one day and they I wish I would have treated my husband that way. Wish I would have treated my wife better than I did. And so he's basically saying that why do you want to take each moment now in your life and appreciate it? He said because the dark days are coming. You can believe that. The dark days are coming. There will be time. And folks, let's face the facts. Not every moment of our lives is enjoyable. But many of us can think back at a period in our lives when we had it good, but we didn't realize we had it good. You don't miss the water till the well runs dry. And so there's some things in life that we're experiencing right now that are very good. We need to stop and smell the roses and enjoy our lives at this time. That's basically what he's saying. Sometimes people are very depressed. We'll get to that later on, and they suffer from anxiety and things like that often. And we'll talk about that in just a little while. But we're also to rejoice in things that God has given us. If you go over to 1 Timothy, First Timothy chapter 6, I believe is what I want. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, beginning there around verse number 17, Paul said, command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty, nor to trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God who gives us all richly all things to enjoy. So God gives us things. I talk so many times about don't get caught up in the love of money. Oh, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy your things. Enjoy your house. You got a house, enjoy your house. You got an apartment, enjoy your apartment. Some people complain of in his own apartment, own house. Well, make the best of your apartment. While we got it. You got a car, enjoy your car. If it's a Humpty, enjoy your car. And you get around. You know what I'm talking about? Enjoy your car. But here's what he's saying. God doesn't have a problem with you enjoying your things. You have things that you purchase, things that you want. Enjoy those things. That's not a problem. But the Bible goes on to say, of course, we ought to rejoice in these things we own responsibly. Why do I say that? Well, keep reading. You look at verse 18. If we just start at verse 17, it'd be that. But verse 18, let them do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to give, willing to share, storing up for themselves a good foundation for the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. Sometimes we have a lot of goods. We have things, but we don't want to share them. And I talk about this all the time. There's people all over the world. Some of them only making $200 or $300 a year. Many of us couldn't pay one day bill with that amount of money. Taking $20, $30 out of our paycheck, sending it once a month to Africa or Ukraine or somewhere to feed hungry children. We ought to be willing to give. Most Americans, we're very rich people, even when we're just in our apartments compared to most of the world. So he said, enjoy your things, but be responsible. Understand that there comes a time when we need to give. We need to give to God. And as you know, I don't believe in prosperity preaching. But I will tell you this. If you give sparingly, you're going to reap sparingly. And so we need to share those things also with God. Now, I'm going to move on to another section here about rejoicing. Sometimes people fail to do this. But we need to rejoice in salvation. So I see people get really, really down. And they forget about the fact that they're saved. That's something to be happy about. Even on your darkest day, if you're doing the will of God, you can always say, well, at least I got this to be happy about. that I am saved by God as long as I stay faithful. Turn with me, if you will, to Luke chapter 10 and verse 20. Luke chapter 10 and verse number 20. Now I'm going to tell you why I'm going to start at verse number 17. Because I want you to get the context. We'll read the whole deal here. But to start in verse 17. Then the 70 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. Let me stop for a minute. You have these people. They have been assigned by Jesus to go out and do some works. And they're casting out demons in the name of Jesus. And the demons are coming out. And they're just so glad and they're rejoicing in that. Thinking that's maybe all there is to it. And Jesus makes the comment, I saw Satan fall like lightning in the same context. But when you're looking at verse number 20, listen to what he says. He said, nevertheless, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rather rejoice because your names are what? Written in heaven. I need to rejoice first because I'm saved. I said, Lord, I'm so glad we baptized 500 people. Isn't that great? No, he's saying place the emphasis of rejoicing on salvation. Many of us may do good Christian works, and we ought to, and we better do those things according to God's word. But that's not why we rejoice. We rejoice because we have the hope of heaven. Even on your darkest day, you can look here and say, I know I'm faithful to God, and therefore my name is written in the Lamb's book of life. And that gives me something to rejoice about. There's always something to rejoice about. Also, we see there in Galatians chapter 5, verse number 22. We see another reason that we need to rejoice. Now, the Bible talks about, in verse 19, the works of the flesh. He said the works of the flesh are evident. He named all these things we used to do. Adultery, fornication, drunkenness, and all those. He named a whole bunch of sins there. And he says, I told you in time past, those who practice such things will not what? They will not inherit the kingdom of God. And so here's the deal. We talked about this some weeks ago. The works of the flesh, we need to take out the trash. We need to get those things out of our lives. But folks, that's not enough. If you want real joy in your life, you have to add the fruit of the Spirit. See, that's some people, they have stopped going out. They have stopped partying. They've stopped fornicating. They stopped doing all these things. But they're miserable Christians. Some people, they've stopped doing some bad things, but they're unhappy every day. Let me show you what the problem is. In Galatians chapter 5 and verse number 22. He said, but, see, this is in contrast to the works of the flesh. In contrast to that, he says these words. He said, but the fruit of the Spirit is what? Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such, there is no law. Now, I'm going to ask this question this morning. I want you to challenge yourself and answer yourself honestly. You got any peace? Are you kind? Yeah. Are we gentle? You know, some people get mad because they got to get the fruit of the Spirit. I'm mad. Man, I ain't no sissy. I ain't no pushover. I don't want to be gentle. I don't like that. Well, that's something God requires. I'm telling you. I've seen people get an attitude because we're talking about the fruit of the Spirit. They don't want the fruit of the Spirit because I got to give up me. They don't have the fruit of the Spirit. Anybody can I get in there? What about self-control? I ain't having no fun no more. couple nights you get sky high. Tell me I can't smoke weed. I can't get drunk. I can't go to casinos again. Well, what can I do? Mad at God. Because God stays straight up our life. But self-control is meant for a reason. I think I touched it. Let me start, because we also put these online. I'm sorry, I just hit the button. So I'm going to start. I don't know where I stopped. Let me go back here. I say some people are angry because they have to have the fruit of the Spirit, gentleness and things like that. They don't want that. I want to keep being angry. I want to be tough. I don't want to be gentle. I don't want to be kind. That's just not who I am. And sometimes I don't want to practice self-control. Somebody might say, I remember my brother told me one time, he said, hey man, I talked to him about a sin. He said, man, it's all I got left. I mean, y'all took away everything else. I ain't took away nothing. God took it away. Amen. You need to get up out of my business. I ain't in your business. God in your business. God's in my business. You think there ain't some things I had to give up when I became a Christian? Folks, let me tell you, I used to be a nightclub act. That was my job. I was a nightclub act. I had a drink on my table, a cigarette. You follow where I'm going? And I smoked things, and I'll stop there. But I have over 30 years. But my point is simply this. It was tough having to give up sin. But it was very well worth it. And so we need to get the fruit of the Spirit. Also, we also need to rejoice always, physically and emotionally. I'm talking strength-wise here. I want you to park in Proverbs. Go to Proverbs chapter 12. I tried to do some of these in sections so that we could just stay in a certain area. In Proverbs chapter 12 and verse number 25. Here's what I'm sorry. For physical and emotional strength. That's what we're talking about here. And so when you look at Proverbs chapter 12 and verse number 25, the Bible says, anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. Let me talk about that. Sometimes we are depressed. Sometimes we have anxiety. My dad said that when I was a boy, he said there were times, he said I was a little boy, 8, 9 years old. He said there was times he would check on us 2 or 3 in the morning. And he said, I'd be in there with my head behind my head, my eyes wide open. I've had insomnia since I was a little kid, worrying all the time about things. Even as a little boy, I worried about things all the time. Had a miserable time. But I later learned that I controlled that. Amen. Let me tell you, my wife told me I've had some insomnia issues in the past, and my wife and I invested in a bed to help me sleep better. And the bed kind of, you can move it in different positions. I must be sleeping very well lately because there's a button that you push for snoring, and it pulls you up like this. And I wake up sometime and I'm way all the way up here. She done pushed the snore button. So I know I must be sleeping better. Amen. So a glad heart, the Bible says, raises the spirit. You can also see that in Proverbs chapter 15 and verse number 13. The Bible says a merry heart makes a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart, the spirit is what? It is broken. See, the spirit is broken. Sometimes we put ourselves in a situation because we allow too many things to get to us. Amen? And some of those things, we need to make up our mind not to allow those things to stress us out into worries. He tells us also in Proverbs chapter 15 and verse number 15, all the days of the afflicted are evil, But he who is married, he who is of a merry heart has a continual feast. And you think about that. A continual feast. You mean to tell me I control whether or not if I'm cheerful and happy every day? And I get up every day and I make up my mind. I get on myself. Sometimes I'm having a bad day. I say, come on, man. This is the choice. But how you want it? Okay? You going to throw a pity party? Or you going to get on with it? Just get on with it. And so we have to make ourselves what? To have a cheerful heart. How do you do that? Well, we're going to talk about that a little later on. Now, let's talk about spiritual strength. Some people, their strength is in worldly things. What am I talking about? There are people that have physical strength. I recall people, bodybuilders and guys like that. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, that name is. Look at him lately. I don't want to bag on him over the microphone. I'm not bagging on him. But there's a lot of them that just shows this. Nothing against him personally. But there will come a time when our strength physically is going to fail us. You may be very wealthy. We may be very wealthy. But there's going to come a time when somebody else is going to be spending your money. You may have power. You may be a governor. You may be a president. You may be a king. But there's only one king who lives forever. Amen. That king was raised on the third day. And he went up to heaven and sat down at the right hand of God. And he will reign forever. Only one king like that. Every other king is going to die. So what am I saying? If your strength is in worldly accomplishments. Sometimes I see on the internet things pop up where I go on to research, and lately it's just all this government stuff, and all this popping up the person, something popping up every day. And I saw something pop up the other day, and it said people who still look good in their 80s. And I got to thinking about that. Yes, we can get facelifts and wrinkle creams and all that, but folks, if you're 85, your lungs are 85. Your kidneys 85. I don't care what you do out here. Yeah, your joints are 85. Amen. There's going to come a point where the physical strength is not going to last. And so we look here at Nehemiah chapter 8. Look at Nehemiah chapter 8 in verse number 10. What does the Bible say there? Then he said to them, this is Nehemiah, who went back to build the walls. He said, go your way, eat the fat, drink the sweet, and send portions to those for whom nothing is prepared. For this is holy to our Lord. Do not sorrow, for the joy, what's the joy? For the joy of the Lord is your strength. What needs to be your strength? The joy of the Lord. Not my body, not the money, not the looks, but God needs to be the strength of our joy. Also in Romans chapter 15 and verse number 13, the Bible says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope. You see, when I have God, that power will continue to abound. Now, I talked about being 85, and you can be 85 and spiritually strong. You can be 90 years old on your deathbed and be spiritually strong. That's something no one can take away from us. Now, there are some things that you will lose one day in this world. But there are some things that you can gain, such as purity, a righteous life, doing the will of God. Those things you get to take with you into the other life. Why do I say that? Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 through 21, Jesus said, lay not your treasures here on earth, where rust and moth destroy, and thieves break in and steal, but lay your treasures up in heaven. See, people can't get to them there. Where rust and moth does not destroy, thieves stand still. For where your heart is, or where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So we need to strive for spiritual things, because those are the only things that you can take into the next life. They're the only strengths that are lasting. What am I saying here this morning? Our joy needs to be in the Lord. There was a entertainer who claimed some great fame. And he is accredited today to be one of the greatest, perhaps the greatest entertainer in the whole world. And they said on his deathbed, he smoothed out all this stuff the last week that he was living. He was mad about who was going to be living in his house, who was going to be spending his money. He was not converted to Christianity, and he died in that state. Let me tell you, you can't take material things with you, but spiritual things you can take to the other life. Amen. Let's go to the next section. How can I rejoice always in the Lord? Well, in Philippians chapter 4, go over to Philippians chapter 4. And we've been here before, and we know that this man who's making this comment is presently sitting where? In prison. This is Paul. He said, it is the Lord that one finds the ability, that's what I'm saying, to rejoice in the Lord always. That's what he's saying. And he said, I say it again, rejoice. So he said, I say rejoice, and I say again, what? Rejoice. There will come a time where people are going to disappoint you, in this life. Sometimes if your joy is only in your wife, no harm against my wife. I love my wife, and my wife loved me. But we make it clear to one another. Real joy is in the Lord. Now, here's the deal. I have joy in her, but the bulk of my joy, the bulk of her joy is in the Lord. Everybody follow me? Let me tell you why I'm telling you this. Sometimes a person's joy are their children. I've seen people who love their children so much that when their children go astray and leave the faith and choose some other lifestyle, I can't part with my baby. And they go with the kids. There's some people who love their parents so much. They say, well, I just don't want to disappoint my parents. And my parents been this religion all their lives, and so you're going to forfeit salvation? There's some people, their jobs are so important to them. You ever see people like that? They love their jobs. Just love where they work, and their job is their life. And then when they lose their job, what do? They leave the Lord. But if the Lord is your joy, let me tell you why you want the Lord to be your number one joy. It's because the Lord is consistent. See, my wife doesn't know whether or not tomorrow somebody's going to knock on the door and say your husband was killed in a car accident. She doesn't know that. And I don't want her to leave God because of me. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes people, when they lose certain things, they leave the Lord. When a marriage goes bad, they leave the Lord. And when their relationship goes bad with their kids, they leave the Lord. And when their relationship goes bad with their friends, they leave the Lord. And when their relationship goes bad with other Christians, amen. I talk to some Christians like that. Why? I don't want to go around there with them people. What people you talking about? Your brothers and sisters? Yeah, them people down there, I don't want to go around there with them. So let me get this right. You're willing to forfeit your soul because there's a few people that you don't like? Let me tell you, many of you work with people that you don't like. Amen. Some of you go to school with people you don't like. Some of you shop in stores with people you don't like. But that don't stop you from getting groceries. Amen. And so my point is your life, your soul is of greater value than groceries. So when a person is telling me the reason why they left the Lord is because somebody in the church let them down, they misunderstand. They have placed their faith in the wrong things. Look over here in Psalms. Even when we make errors and do things that we shouldn't do, and the Lord is chastening us, that's still not a good reason to leave the Lord. Look at Psalms chapter 21. Psalms chapter 21, beginning there in verse 1. The king shall have joy in your strength, O Lord, and in your shouts, in your salvation, how greatly shall he rejoice. You have given him his heart's desire and have not withheld the request of his lips. You want to know what the background is to this? This king went out on the balcony one day. He looked out and he saw a woman bathing. And he slept with that woman and he lost a lot of things. In fact, God told him that the sword would never leave his house. And as an old man, he still had trouble in his house. But listen to his words here. He's saying that my strength is still in the Lord. Sometimes God will chasten us for things we do that are wrong. But our joy still needs to remain in the Lord. Our strength still needs to remain in him. Also in Psalms chapter 31, I know we got a lot of people that can relate to this one. Psalms chapter 31, verse 7 through 8. I will be glad, and I will what? I will rejoice in your mercy, for you have considered my trouble. You have known my soul in adversity, and have not shut me up into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet on a wide place. Now, you ain't got to raise your hand. How many of you in here that could be dead by things you've done in the past? Oh, don't tell me you ain't got no mercy. You ought to rejoice in that mercy. Yeah, rejoice in God that he gave me mercy and spared my life so that I could obey the gospel of Jesus Christ. Now, if you want real joy this morning, that's what you got to do. You need to obey the gospel of Jesus Christ. Why? Because joy is consistent in Christ. Can you prove that from the Bible? Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 5. God said, I will never leave you, nor forsake you. 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse number 7. Cast your cares upon him because he cares for you. God is consistent. Your friends might let you down. Your spouse might let you down. Your children might let you down. Everybody in this world might let you down. Your job might let you down. But God will never let you down. We become a Christian this morning. I gave it on the front end, I gave it on the end. Say it this morning. I want to become a Christian. I want to become a Christian this morning. I want to be saved. I want to rejoice in the Lord always, knowing that I have salvation. There's only one way to do that. The Bible teaches that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Not by what I feel, not by what I think. But what does God's word say about salvation? I must believe, you must believe, we must believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of the living God, John 8:24. We must turn away from sin. That's called repentance. Luke 13:3. Jesus said, I tell you no, unless you repent, you shall all likewise perish. Not only that, you must confess Christ with your mouth, that he is the Christ, leading to salvation. Romans chapter 10, verse 9 and 10. If you come up here to be saved this morning, I'll take a paper confession from you. But that's not what the Bible means. You must also be baptized into Christ's body. Why do you want to be baptized into the body? Because the body is the church. And that's who Christ's coming back to save at the end of time. He's coming back for the church. See, if you haven't been baptized into the church, you're not saved. And so you need to be baptized. But even that's not enough. You need to remain faithful until death. What are you doing? Perhaps you're already a Christian. But you're sitting there thinking, I haven't been rejoicing in the Lord. I just had so much anxiety and so much fear in my life. I haven't trusted God. I don't have joy in my life. I want to repent. I want to do better. I want God to be my strength and my joy yet once again. Whatever your need may be, please Make it known as we stand and sing the song of invitation.